One day, a man set out to test Jesus. You see, Jesus was a rabbi, but his teaching was often unconventional. So some Jews would try to expose him to prove he was a heretic. And on this day, Jesus was questioned about who would get to be a part of God's coming kingdom. Who would qualify? Jesus turns the question back to the man and asks him what the law says is required. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Which is, after all, the heart of what God asks of us. But the man isn't done testing Jesus, and he asks, "Who is my neighbor?" And Jesus tells a story you might have heard before. A man was going from Jerusalem to Jericho, which means he was probably Jewish. He gets beaten up, robbed, stripped, and left for dead. A priest walks by and avoids him. The man might be dead, and touching him would make the priest unclean. A Levite does the same. And then who walks by? A Samaritan, an outsider, an enemy, someone who the Jews despised. And what does he do? He goes above and beyond, dedicating time and resources for the man to live. That's not the story the man was expecting. Which person acted like a neighbor? The one who had mercy on him. The rabbi didn't answer the question though. No, he turned it on its head. We are the ones who have to ask how we can be a neighbor. We have to be like the Samaritan? I thought they were unclean. It was a radical thing. Jesus was being asked to prove he was an insider, a proper Jew, and that he could draw lines to show who gets to be a part of God's kingdom and who doesn't. And instead, Jesus painted a different picture. Even though Jesus fully identified as Jewish, he also knew there was a day not far ahead when, like the prophet Joel foretold, God would pour out the Spirit on all flesh. In anticipation of that day, Jesus was ushering the people away from drawing lines that exclude and teaching them that loving their neighbors meant moving towards others in boundary-breaking and sacrificial love, and challenging them to recognize and receive that same life-giving love from others.